today. So, okay, so we're recording. I've also got the closed captioning on. I don't see anybody on the live Zoom link, although I just sent the link over. So, anyway, we'll go ahead and I don't think we're going to be here the entire class session today. I don't know if that is going to break anyone's heart or not. But part of the reason why is because typically, and it's especially the case on a 15-week class where we've got lots of time, we've got a full term. We're not really in any rush to get through the content, but also there are at least 2 people, I think, who have yet to register. And so I don't want to get too far ahead of them today because they're not yet in the class. And so I will, at some point, I want to, that looks like we've got somebody joining now. So I don't want to get too far ahead of where we are here, so that when they do join us, you'll all be on the same page. But I do want to just sort of go through what the program's about and what we're doing in this class. And has anybody taken an econ course before, micro or anything like that? Okay, well, it seems like a lot of people take macro first, probably because it's the way we've got it numbered. We have micro or macro number 2110, micro 2120. It doesn't make any difference though which you take first. I know there are a lot of people out there who say, oh, you should take micro first or you should take macro first. It doesn't really make any difference. And so there's no real worry about that. And in fact, what I'm going to be doing beginning Thursday and into next week is I'm going to be covering the basic fundamentals of econ. I'm going to go with the assumption that you've never had any econ, no experience, exposure to economics at all whatsoever. And I'm going to start really from the very beginning, which is literally what is economics. And so don't worry if you've never had any econ course before. Also, I'm going to get into probably the math piece, and I'll go over the syllabus here in a minute. It's in Appendix A in your book. And what it really intends to do is to sort of show you what sort of the outer limit is of what the math expectation is in the class, because I think a lot of people think that this is a sort of a math class, and it's really not. Yeah, there are numbers involved, but I think you're going to find them to not be too difficult, nothing that you really can't work with at all. And I know, but the majority of what we do that does require sort of this jump start or refresher is dealing with graphs and slopes and functions. And those are just ways that we express economic relationships that we'll be using a lot throughout the course. So we'll get into that on Thursday, beginning on Thursday. And what we're going to do today is I'm just going to talk about the class, how it's structured. Particularly, I want to focus on the Attend Anywhere sort of setup. And Attend Anywhere is it's a concept basically where if you're familiar with it, then kind of bear with me a little bit here. But basically what the concept is, it's based upon the idea that you've got 3 different ways to attend class. And that is you can attend in person, like what you're doing here. And it's kind of nice we have so many people attending, or you can watch a live Zoom feed, and I'll post the link. It'll probably be the same Zoom link. What I did is I just posted it in the course site. And does everybody know how to get into Brightspace and to do all that? I think you probably do. So just go on the main, this is our main landing page. I was building this yesterday. I know a couple of people emailed me saying, hey, there's nothing there. It's like, well, the class doesn't start till today. So, but I built it in, I didn't get the Zoom, I probably should have gotten the Zoom link out a little bit earlier, but it should be the same link, at least through sometime in April. Looks like I tried to extend the recurring meeting sort of mode on this, but I think it cut me off sometime in April. So, but I'll post that link every class session. Plus, I also email it to everybody to whatever your CNN email address is. So you've got that. Fairly simple. So you can watch online live, or you can be here in class live in this room, Max Salazar 311, or you can watch the recording. And I'm going to record this, and I'll post the link to it sometime, probably later today. I would be more definite about when it's going to go up. It's the link to this video, but I don't know if there's a class coming in right after this. I'm recording it to this computer, and so if there's a class that comes in right afterwards, I've got to leave. It takes a while to do it. I had a class yesterday where it took like 57 minutes to sort of crunch it down to an MP4 file, and obviously no instructor's going to wait for 57 minutes to do that. So that was a little extreme in terms of the time, but you kind of get the idea. It's what I'll do is I'll save the file, the video file, and I'll post it to a YouTube link. There's no password required. Just click on the YouTube file, and it's there forever. you can look at it tomorrow, you can look at it this weekend, you can look at it before the first exam. It's there for however long you want to look at it. Okay, so it's entirely up to you as to how long you would like to look at that. So I think it's really the best of all worlds for students. I really do. You know, because some people don't really like the online very much, and we discovered that during the pandemic. I mean, everything went online, and there were a lot of people who said, I'm just going to back away for a while, which was a little surprising to us because at least in economics, and I can't speak for other departments, all of our econ courses that were purely online prior to that time were all full. And we were, some people couldn't get in, and we were overfilling as much as possible because we were just full up. So I was a little surprised about that, but the pandemic was just this weird thing, we had to deal with it. So we kind of got a little creative and came up with a way that you can either come to class if you want, and a lot of people do like to do that, and there's something to be said for that. And I have to admit, after being back, I know we were back last semester, summer before, but it is nice to be back. Or you can watch it live if you have something going on, you have children or whatever, can't get away, you can watch it live. Or you can watch it sometime whenever you like. And there's going to be an attendance link, and I'll show you where that is here, Brightspace page, and click on coursework and discussions. There's an attendance link. So there's a little, first of all, there's a little welcome thing there. You can go in. You don't have to, looks like some people have posted this. You don't have to post your introduction, but if you want to, you can. It's entirely up to you. I just kind of think it's nice for students to connect with each other, but there's basically says, hey, I'm here, I watched the video, or I watched it live, because there's no other way to capture attendance. And the government does require that since we receive government student financial aid, we're required to take attendance. So just click on the hyperlink and just say something brief. It doesn't have to be anything much at all. Saying I attend, and that's the way you record your attendance. No big deal, not a thing to worry about. I know I'll probably have to post a number of reminders because everyone forgets. It's a little bit strange, but anyway, gotta bear with me. That's what you want to do. There's also a questions link here if you have questions about, hey, I don't really understand something. And if it's something that you don't mind everyone else knowing about, obviously you wouldn't want to communicate things like grade information or whatnot. But something that you think everyone else could benefit from, just go ahead and post a question there. I do check that pretty much every day. So go ahead and feel free to do that as well. Okay. So let me see here. I'm going to try to make sure that I can blow this up on the screen here. So if anybody's watching this, that's probably about as good as I'm going to get. If anyone's watching this video, they can see what I'm seeing here. Part of the conflict here with the Zoom is that there's a lot that goes up on here, and so we'll see that. But eventually, I'll be working with whiteboards, so I'll be swiveling the camera. And so for those of you here, that's not a big deal, but hopefully it's not also a big deal for those watching the actual video. Well, let's go back to, I just want to go over some things, including the syllabus. I didn't print off a syllabus, and if anybody wants a printed copy, just let me know. It's not like I'm trying to save paper or anything, but it's there for you, and it's all you got to do is click on it. But I wanted to go to the main page, main landing page. There's my information, my office hours, which are right after this class. And I'm over in Smith Brasher. This is the only class I actually have here in this building. So I'm in Smith Brasher, which is, where the heck are we? I guess it's over there at the corner there. I've never even been in this room before, so I'm a little bit disoriented. So that's right after class. But as you'll see on the syllabus, I listed all my office hours. And let me see here. Here is the syllabus. And so let's spend some time going over the syllabus, and so we can so you're familiar with what's going on in the class here. Let me sort of turn the light down just a little bit here. I don't want to make it too dark, but just to make it a little bit easier. Oh, shoot. I've never been in this room before. I know these switches are cool. I guess I did have it. I don't have any idea. Well, okay. Well, I think I have license. What's I doing? Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, well, I never mind. There's a lot of stuff in this room that I've never seen before. These these switches are different. So anyway, let's go to the syllabus. And again, if you want a copy, just let me know. This is the course 2110 Macro Principles. Since this is an attend anywhere, it's actually, there are two different sections, AO1 and AO2. You're in either one of those, but really you're all together. It's the same thing. Even if you had signed up for the one that's in class, you can still watch it on the Zoom video, or you can watch it, as a recording, whichever you prefer. It's entirely up to you. The reason we've divided these into two sections is some instructors will actually have like on a Tuesday, Thursday class, like now, we'll say everybody comes in on Tuesday, and then we'll do something online on Thursday. That's not really the way I do it, but some instructors do, and that's you'll see that happening. So there's my telephone number, my voicemail. These are all my office hours here, and they're all in Smith Brasher, room 201. It's just on the second floor. If you go up the stairs, it's right off to the right there. Let's talk about the text. Okay, so the text is, I know it's available at the bookstore and it's on sale at the bookstore, but it's also free online. So if you want to look at the free version, it's this one here. It's from a company called OpenStax. It's a free textbook, and you can click, you just copy this link, and it opens up. There's no password. There's no cost. There's nothing like that. I know some people in my section yesterday had actually bought the book. In fact, somebody paid like $100 on Amazon. And I said, well, if you can send it back, fine. And she goes, no, I want to keep it. So I said, all right, that's fine. Some people want a physical textbook, and that's fine too. So if you want a physical book, the bookstore's got them. But for me, I would just click on this every time I go in, or save this somewhere, or save it to your bookmarks in your browser. It's easy, and you can go into it. I think it's a pretty good book. Now, I have to say that for a lot of years, we looked at a lot of different free textbooks, and we just weren't really happy with what we saw. This is probably the best one that we've come across yet. It's published by Rice University in Houston, so I think we're really pretty happy with it. So because this class works as sort of a hybrid nature, we've got a fairly strong online element to it. Now, there are no discussion activities like there are in a lot of online courses, so you don't have to worry about that. And I'll talk about what we're doing in the course in terms of activities, but you don't really have to go into Brightspace every day if you don't want to. I mean, you can if you like, but you don't have to. The online courses, obviously, you want to check in more frequently, but you don't really have to, because this is more of a traditional class that just happens to have a technological element of Zoom and a recorded video. So there's the course description. I'll let you read this for yourself. This is pretty much boilerplate. We're going to be talking about all of these things here, dealing with macro versus microeconomics. Macroeconomics deals with the big picture view of the entire economy, and we're going to be looking at those. And beginning on Thursday, because I'm not probably going to get into much course content today, but we're going to start to sort of build an understanding of how the economy works, who the actors are. We're going to study the who, what, when, where, why of the economy. Who are the actors? What do they do? What are their motivations? What are their incentives? So we're going to talk a lot about government policy. Of course, whenever we use whenever the word policy comes up, it's almost always dealing with government policy. That is, how is the government trying to control the economy? Okay. Okay, so let's talk. So this gets into some language here. A lot of this is sort of boilerplate stuff that just simply comes with the school business syllabus. But this is different if you're not in any attend anywhere section. But this one, it basically talks about the three choices: in-person, video conferencing. It says Zoom or WebEx. It's going to be Zoom. Okay, we do have WebEx capability here, but it's going to be Zoom. I think most people are familiar with Zoom more than WebEx or Skype or or Teams. There's nothing wrong with those, but we tend to use Zoom because I think most people get sort of used to using Zoom. Or you can watch the recorded lectures asynchronously online. It may take me a day to get those up there, but they will be on there. And what I'll do is I'll just go back to the main landing page, and I'll just post the link. It'll be a YouTube file, easy to click on. And I said at the outset that, and I really believe this, I really do, that it's the best of all worlds for students, because if you just like their traditional experience of coming to class, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't impact you at all. If you if you can't make it, or you're out of town for a day or two, you can watch the video and you can stop it, rewind it, you can save it, you can stop it, go do something else, come back, go to the gym, whatever, come back, it's still there. And so I think it's great. And it's something that obviously for those of us who went to school when there was no such option, you're always saying, what did he say? What did I miss that? And so this you don't have to worry about. Even if you're here today and you missed something I said, you can go back and look at it. Okay, so those are the ways to do it. The exams, there are going to be 4 exams in the class, and then a final. I'll get to those in a minute. Those are going to be in Brightspace. So you'll just go into the Brightspace, this course landing site, and you'll see where it is. There'll be a separate link for the exams. If you want to take it in class, let me know, and I'll just print you off a paper version so you can take it in class if you like. Most people, I know that this is the 2nd semester I've done the Attend Anywhere, but we've done a version of it for years in the what we call the fast track program. We've had something similar to this where we've done video courses and whatnot. It seems like most students want to take them online in Brightspace sometime at their leisure and whatnot. So it's your choice. I just ask. I'll talk more about this as we approach the first exam, and I'll just say, hey, if you want to take a paper copy, just let me know, and I'll bring one. Otherwise, I'll just assume that you don't want to. You don't want to do it that way. Okay. Let me see here. What do I want to say here? Oh, if we have a snow day, this is the number 2244 snow, or you can go on the CNN website. So this really only impacts us for the most part in the spring semester. So we might be impacted by that. So if you wake up one morning and find a few inches of snow on the ground, since we're a 9 o'clock class, that's a pretty good chance that we won't be here. So just call that number. It'll say whether we're here or not. Or I think they say on TV and whatnot. But that's a better and faster way to do that. Okay. Any questions so far about anything that I'm talking about? Okay, well, this is available to you. By the way, you can print this or save it or whatever you want to do. So it's downloadable so you can have it for yourself. But as far as the exams, there are going to be 4 intermediate exams, only 3 of which will count because I'll draw up the lowest. Okay, so these will come roughly every 3 weeks or so. But there are no quizzes, no papers, no presentations, there's no group work, there's no weekly assignments, anything like that. So if it seems like a lot of exams, it's probably to your benefit. My experience is that students do better in this class when they have more exams with smaller, more bite-sized amounts of chapter readings and content than maybe 2 big exams or whatever. I know some instructors have like one giant exam at the end. The final exam is going to be very similar in format to those intermediate exams. As we get closer to those, we'll talk about them. But I'll draw out the lowest of those. So theoretically, you could do very well in the first 3 exams and not take exam 4. Although I don't recommend doing that, mostly because what's going to be on the final is going to be also covering some of the content from that 4th exam. So I would sort of move you not to do that, but it's the strategy that you want to take, and you'll want to work that out. You can do a makeup on these. I do allow students to do a makeup. You've got a week to do that if you've missed that exam. There's a 10% late assessment, mostly just as a sort of a fairness issue with those who did take it during the week it was assigned. But if you missed the exam for whatever reason, and it doesn't make any difference, I don't need any kind of a doctor's note or any kind of explanation. Just say, hey, I missed the exam and I need to do a makeup, and we'll figure out how to do it. If you want to do a paper copy, the center, which I believe is still next door. I think it's next door, actually. Does anybody know? Well, we can get to that as we get to that. You could do it as a paper version, or I could just simply reopen it in Brightspace. So not a problem there. It's fairly simple to do. But what I'll probably do on the exams is, if you want to take any class, I'll bring a copy of for you to take the day of the exam, if you like. Or otherwise, I'll make the exam available probably sometime right after this class ends on a Thursday. So we have a Tuesday, Thursday. So I'll probably make it available right after class. You'll have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to take it. You've got a 2-hour window, and that should be adequate time to take it, I think. So hopefully that will work for you. And if it doesn't, we'll work some other kind of arrangement out. But most students like to take it in Brightspace, because you can do it at home. You can spread out. You can, obviously it's an online exam, so you can use your book. You can use whatever kind of resources are available, and that might be a little more comfortable for you than taking in class. So I'm a fairly slow test taker myself, so I kind of like to have, I kind of like things that are comfortable and whatnot. So anyway, you can read about the email etiquette policy and all those things. There, veteran services. There's a lot of information there, much of which is not something that I wrote, but it's just it's material we've got to sort of cover. So here's what we're going to be doing this week. Class introduction, that's what we're doing now. And chapter 1 is the first chapter in the OpenStax book. It's actually Greenlaw is the author, Greenlaw and Shapiro. So I would read chapter 1, also read the chapter or the appendix A. If you're online, chapter 1, it's easy to find when you're online. All the chapters will be listed on the left. It's easy to just click on it. Appendix A is all the way down the bottom. If you've got the physical copy, the appendix A is in the back. It's in the 400s. So it's fairly easy to find. So that's what you want to be looking at today and this week. When we come back on Thursday, I'll talk more about what's in chapter 1. And I'll be sort of weaving in and out of chapters 1 and 2 for the first couple class sessions, mostly because a lot of the content that is covered in pretty much any econ textbook that I've ever seen is pretty much the same. It covers the basics and maybe a different order and whatnot. So I might be jumping in between those, but it'll be very obvious as we get to chapter 3 and beyond that I'll be covering a particular topic, whether it's fiscal policy or monetary policy or whatever. It'll be very definite to that. It will be 2 weeks from, I guess, Thursday. So you can see these are roughly spaced at 3 to 4 week periods there. And there's not, the readings are not too bad. I mean, we only got, I think, 1 chapter per week. I think we've got the appendix square on here in this week, but it's not, I think that we will probably cover all we really want to cover. And if we get to a point, and I bring up the snow day mostly because if we do have snow days that sort of slow us down or whatnot, I mean, I have to be here to record this, so there's no class for me. I don't have any way to report it at home or anything, so we may get a little bit behind, but I will keep to the same schedule for the exams, okay? So if it means that we didn't get to chapter 14 for exam 3, for instance, it'll still be available on that day. It just won't cover chapter 14, okay? So I wouldn't worry about if we have to cut out chapter 17 or whatever. Also, the exams will not be comprehensive in nature. So that is, exam 1 will cover only material up to exam 1. Exam 2 will cover only material from exam 1 to exam 2. The final exam will be comprehensive, but before everyone starts freaking out about that, just know that it's a deal where it's going to cover things that we've talked about before. So it's nothing that's going to be brand new. Also, one thing I should tell you is that there's nothing that goes on an exam that we won't talk about in class. And I know that sometimes instructors will pull out a question that just comes from left field seemingly, or maybe it's covered in the book somewhere and they think, okay, well, it's fair game. But I will talk about everything that goes on the exam. And if for some reason I make a mistake and include something on the exam that I didn't intend to, I'll correct that. But I do like to only cover what was on the exam itself. Okay. Real quickly, just to finish, and I don't think I'm going to be here all that long, but I do talk about some things here. First of all, there's a statement regarding COVID. You want to have a look at that if you would. COVID is still a thing, unfortunately, and I think I'm supposed to do a seating chart. So I'll do that on Thursday. So just maybe sit where you want to sit next to who you want to sit away from who you don't want to sit away from. If you feel comfortable where you are, I'll probably make a chart on Thursday and you can sit there. It's not, I mean, we're not in first grade or whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal, but I think the issue is that if somebody gets COVID, they want to be able to call people who are sitting next to them, which is not like somebody behind you couldn't be infected as well. But anyway, you can, I think the school's trying their best to deal with what is still an unusual situation. So every week you'll see here that I've got the modules, the weekly modules, week 1, it'll go all the way down to week 15. What I'm going to do is, I know some instructors, and in the past, I have also put all the weeks ahead of time here. I'd rather not do that. And the reason why I'd rather not is because if we get behind or if we lose a day because of weather or anything, then I don't want to, get everyone all mixed up because we're a couple chapters behind or whatnot. I'd rather update this over the weekend before every week so that we're pretty well sure what we're going to be covering, so that you can know what we're going to be doing in that particular week. So I'm pretty confident that what we're going to cover this week, really beginning on Thursday, we'll get to it. So week one, then the overview, we'll talk about scarcity, we'll talk about the differences between macro and micro, also a little checklist every week that you can look at. So for this week, all you're going to do is the readings and watch the videos if you haven't done that. Also, I've got a set of PowerPoint slides that I've included here, and those are downloadable for you. You can print them or save them, or just simply view them, whatever you like. And I'll start with going through some of these on Thursday. What they really are is sort of an effort to sort of keep everyone on pace with what I'm talking about. There's really no substitute for taking notes in class or reading the book. I know that sometimes people get a little bit excited about the PowerPoints and think that that's all you've got to look at, but it's really just a way to sort of frame the discussion, to be honest with you. So, okay, let me see here. What else do I want to talk about? Is there anything I should, does anybody have any questions for me about anything that we're doing here and whatnot? So, okay, well, is it going to break you guys' hearts if I say we're going to call it quits for today, and that way we can accommodate, we have a couple more people to accommodate, and I think they got with me yesterday. It does take a while for them to get registered. They're not even in the class yet, but they will be. And they haven't gotten their book, so I don't want to get too far out ahead of anybody who's going to. So,
yeah. Sorry. So is there like a book you have to buy, or is there like something hiking?
Yeah, there's a book. It's in the bookstore, or you can just simply go to the. There's a link to the free text. Text is free, so there's no cost to it. So if you go to coursework content in Brightspace, right, and then go to the syllabus, there's a link to it right there. Okay, and it's free. It's a free text, and you can use that. And yeah, so that's what I would do. But I don't know. I went all the way to college and graduate school and doctoral program, and people, a lot of people don't want physical book. That's fine. There's something to be said for having that. I kind of prefer the physical book just as a matter of learning, but you know, it's a cost issue as well. So any other questions that I can answer for anybody? Well, when we come back on, oh, by the way, my name is Tim Simpson, so I didn't introduce myself. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm probably figured that out by now. I've been here 17 years, so quite a while. I've been doing this for a while. So, and I'm here pretty much every day. So, oh, by the way, on my office hours, if it doesn't work for you, I list all my hours, so you can come by at those times. Or if none of those work for you, just send me an email or hit me up after class or before class, whatever, and I'll meet you at some other time. That's fine. I mean, I'm usually here, so it's not a big deal as to, you know, I may have a conflict with another class I've got, but if my times don't work with yours and you really need to sit down, that's fine. We'll work it out. I've never not been able to do that. Okay, so I'll be here and available for you. Also, feel free to email me. I usually get back to you fairly quickly on that. If you leave me a voicemail, it actually goes to my email, so I get that as well. So, okay. All right. Well, glad everyone's here today. Hope to see everybody on Thursday, and have a great rest of your day. See you next week.